Legacy may be over, but there are still some fantastic figures that I'd like to talk about, and one of them was something that really surprised me with how good it is. Hello and welcome to Jinx, where today we'll be taking a look at the Legacy United Dino Force, and their combined form, Dinoking. This is a great set of claw class figures that do go for a bit too much, but I think it's worth it due to what you get in the set. The main draw is the combined form, but in order to get to that, we must look at the 6 individuals who make the whole. So, let's start with Goryu. Goryu is a green T-Rex, the repaint of the core Grimlock. This figure is a great example of how budget constraints can hurt one. Grimlock was £10, which would have been fine if figures like Iguanas weren't in the same price bracket. But if you look at it through the lens of a combiner limb, then I think it's fine. Yes, I would have liked more articulation, and we'll get onto how limited all 6 are later in the video. But it makes sense, as Goryu does form a shin of Dinoking, so it would need as much stability as possible. And the ratcheted knee joint also plays a factor, but he does work as his own little guy. Unlike Grimlock, he does have his own proper weapon, which goes well with the new head sculpt in distinguishing Goryu from Grimlock, which I don't own. Garyu is next, and he's the strangest. He has the same issues as Goryu, but he's also very flat. But it is a core combiner limb, so what can you really do? Combiner Wars Scrapper was a similar story, and that was a Voyager-sized figure that came with a Titan. Yes, his weapon is shy, but it fits him, as he feels like a scrounger, so I can see him using someone's disembodied arm as a gun. Your Goryu is probably the best of the individual bots, as he works well as a standalone core figure. This is probably helped by the fact that he's transformated as minimal, so they had extra budget for the articulation. His weapon is just a fist in a cage though. Whilst I love how 07 Optimus this feels, I don't think it works as well as Garyu's. I do love the contemple on his collarbone though. Ryu, well, this is the one that was hit the worst with the class constraints. Whilst I love how he has his own missile pods, you had to pay an extra £20 to get them. But he still doesn't have any thighs though. I'm glad I didn't go in on Volcanicus, as I would have been so disappointed with the sludge of this. In fact, that is what this mold is. It's just sludge. Kakuryu isn't the best either, but far better than Raryu. He feels very much like Goryu and Garyu, but just a bit blander, as he's just a gold slug with Soundwave's face. Luckily, he can have a scythe to go and make him feel a bit better. There is kind of like 3 sets of articulation within this lot. So we're just going to go over it right here with these 3. So this one is basically the same as Kuryu. Forgive me, I do forget the names, it's a very hard one, they're not written down in the script. So he does have head rotation, ball jointed shoulders, elbows. Kuryu does have elbow, bicep swivel, does have a waist, ball joints there for the, sorry, you can't even see that, waist and ball joints there, knee bend, but no thigh swivel unlike your Kuryu. Kakuryu, if I am remembering correctly, is the same as Goryu, Doryu, what is that one, Doryu? Goryu and Gairyu, he's the same as. So he does have, well, unlike those 2, he actually has ratcheted shoulders, mushroom pegged waist, and obviously he has elbow, ball joints at the legs. They're both joints in the legs, the knees, and the thighs. This one's just arse. I mean, he's good because he does have waist rotation very far up, but he's got no thighs. So like, he has a thigh swivel, but it's on like saddlebags, and he does also have knee bend. Head can swivel, and the arms are on ball joints, but he's bad. Like, he's the worst figure of the set. You do not get the set for him. If you want to get him, you get the sludge, which is probably going to be like £2 now. The Dino modes are so cute, because how are these the Dinoking and Grimlock isn't? It is so silly, I love it. But these are the modes that scream Dinobot repaint the most, as the alt modes aren't well disguised. Nor do they look like the original Pretender shells. But let's be honest, we weren't expecting anything on Deathsaurus' level of accuracy. But let's get into what we all came here for. the Dinoking. Kyoryu Sentai Gatai. This is my favourite combiner that I own, which isn't much, as it's just Unite Warriors Devastator, Legacy Minotaur, and this Dinoking. I am so surprised with how amazing this feels and looks, all from core class figures. The individuals suffered so Dinoking could reign. No new details are shown here, but the combined form is gorgeous. I love the massive Cyphax and statue that this beast presents, and the new head is amazing. Whilst my Yokuryu connection hinges loose, it doesn't stop my enjoyment of this beast. The articulation is obviously really good because it's a big Voyager class figure. I mean, for scale, there's Primer, I mean, there's Solus, so he's bigger than both of them. And he's slightly smaller than the Fallen. But the articulation is just as good as, probably not as good as Solus or Megatronus, but really good for obviously the standard of the time, which is still what we're having now. Head is on a 5mm port, so of course you can do a full 360. My Yokuryu arm, as I said, is very loose on this pin here and on the joints. I'll probably need to thicken that up, but it doesn't really hold it down. Both arms have bicep swivels and double elbows because you can use the knee joints or the thigh ball joints. Both of them can lift their fists up, and both have wrist swivels. God, I do need to tighten that up. There is a waist rotation there. Legs can go up that far, back that far, to the side that far. Knee bends, well, it kind of depends where and how you do it, because it's very awkward. And of course your Yokuryu falls off, but they're all on 5mm ports, so it's fine. And these are the only things that are really annoying. The feet do fall off quite easily. You do have thigh swivel and above the knee swivel. That's because obviously 5mm port, and you do have double, very tight double two clicks on the ratchet there for the ankles. But yeah, very good articulation for a bot made of 6 core class figures, even if one of them is very loose. Overall, this is a great set with many downsides, but it's fun. Whilst he isn't on the level of his HasLab Victory colleagues, I mess with him more because I can be rash when messing with him. But should you get one? I don't know. It really depends on you and your collection. I love the Japanese Yuan continuity. I own both HasLabs and backed Lyle Kaiser. But if you haven't, then I don't think you should run out and get him. But if you see him for a good price, do it. It'll be worth it. I have been Jinx, and this has been my look at Legacy United Dinoking. Don't forget to check my book out, the link will be in the description, and I will see you in my next look at another character from the franchise we all love.